Amy Rylander. I'm the director of the Baylor University Career Center. I have a degree, just so you know a little bit about me. I have a BA in English from the University of Southern Mississippi and an MBA from Baylor University. I spent about 22 years in corporate America doing all kinds of things from finance, marketing. I did a little bit of mergers and acquisitions, and then for about 15 years of my corporate career, I was the head of recruiting and employee retention with a large retailer. So about 8 years ago, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who happened to be the chief operating officer of the company I used to work for. And he said, hey, I started working at Baylor University in the Career Center. You want to get the band back together? So, packed up my bags, moved all the way from LA, that's lower Alabama, and joined the Career Center. So, again, Amy Rylander, 8 years at Baylor Career Center. I have with me several people in the back. I've got Sydney over here. She is about a year into the Career Center. She heads up our sciences department in that area. I have Raina Mendoza, who is actually a year into the Career Center as well. It was so funny, on her first day last year, I introduced her. I was telling everybody how long everybody had been here. And I said, and Raina's been with us about 6 hours. Raina used to be in my group, but she got a little bit of a promotion and moved to engineering. So you computer science engineering people, Raina's going to be your girl there. We've got Mike Estep. He's a senior director here at the Baylor University Career Center. Mike actually hired me, and he probably regrets that every day.
And I stole Raina. So.
And he stole Raina, so it's just payback, right? He's been here, what, 10
years this summer.
10 years this summer. So he works primarily with business school students, business graduate students, and engineering and computer science. So,
Robbins.
And Robbins College. Sorry, there's so many of them. Sciences.
And arts and sciences that you don't have yet.
Right, the arts and sciences that I don't have, right. Then we've got Catherine. Catherine's been with us 4.5 months? Has it been that long?
I think
4.5 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Catherine is with us for 4.5 months. She works with, what is it?
I work with the
occupational
OT
therapy
and PT doctoral programs.
Yes. So this is just a few sampling of our group. The reason I like to introduce everybody is so that you understand that we come from a variety of backgrounds. So some of us have long careers in business. Some of us are academics. So you're going to get a really good feel for who we are. I want to talk a little bit about the mission and calling of the Baylor University Career Center. There's a lot of words up here. It says the mission of the Baylor University Career Center is to ensure that each student has the opportunity and support to achieve their career potential. I'll tell you, I am the mother of a Baylor senior. My goal, just in parental terms, is I want to get them off your payroll and on their own as soon as possible. Okay? So we'll do that however we need to do that. I'll just side note, my daughter is currently doing an internship with a company called Wayfair. Perhaps you've heard of them. She's in Boston this summer, and I so hope that she'll have a full-time job when she comes back in the fall and start her senior year. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the other words that are on the screen. We do go by a student-centered approach. We have an appreciation for diversity, a respect for the Christian tradition, which you've probably heard all day today. We have a lot of knowledge. We collaborate with not just each other, but with businesses, with faculty members. Little competence here: excellence, integrity, commitment, compassion, and creativity. But the one I really want to focus on is that student-centered approach. If you look around the room, how many students do we have in here? Raise your hand. All the students. It's a pretty good number. Is there any student in here who is exactly like the student next to them? Probably not. There's probably similarities in that kind of thing. But this is the approach that we like to take. Everybody's a little bit different, and everybody needs a little bit of different help about different things that they have. So I mentioned earlier that Sydney heads up sciences, Raina is over in engineering and computer science, Catherine's OT and PT, Mike does all these other things. I handle liberal arts, education, music, and part of Robbins College that Mike doesn't handle. Why do we do this? It's because we need to get to know students that are in our colleges. The better that we know the students who are in our colleges, the better our phone calls go to employers. the better we know who to bring on campus for our students. And the easier it is for us to pick up a phone call when we have to call an employer and say, hey, I have Ted in here, and you need to give him a chance. I just want you to interview him. We're very student-centered on that. We listen to what your student wants to do. So some students don't want to go directly to a job right after college. Raise your hand if you're planning on doing medical school or grad school, and you already know that. There's quite a few of you, right? That's another thing we're going to help you with. Our team will help you with those applications. Sometimes they're a little tricky. You need personal statements. You need to know how to interview for those graduate positions and that sort of thing. So we can help you with that too. So basically, like I said, our group wants to look at what your student wants to do, and your students what you want to do, and we want to help you get to that goal. With the end goal, of course, being that whole you're on your own and you're on your own couch, not your parents' couch, right? Okay. Great. So you might be thinking, today is my first day at orientation. Why are we thinking about this career stuff so early? Raise your hand, be really honest with this. Raise your hand if April of this year you started looking at colleges that you wanted to attend and you started applying. Wait, nobody? When did you start planning for college? Oh, a couple months ago. Since last year. Okay, so is that more realistic? Last year, year before? Last year I had a student say, I was 3 and I knew I was going to Baylor. I know there's probably some of those in here too. Okay, where else would you go, right? Well, we start talking about the career stuff early so you're not in panic mode by the time you're a senior. Do you know how quickly 4 years passes? Parents, you remember how fast 4 years passed in college, right? Saturday, 4 of my friends from college, from undergrad, came into town. I hadn't seen some of them in 30 years. I have laughed so hard in the past 48 hours. But think about it, 4 years passes so fast. Before you know it, you're going to be reflecting, it'll be the last semester of your senior year, you're going to be reflecting on, hey, remember when that person in the green dress told me that 4 years is going to pass and I didn't believe her? Where did the time go? We want you to start thinking about career stuff early because there's things that you can do all through your college career to make it easy. And we'll talk about some of that today about what I want you to do your freshman year. Don't you just need to adjust to college first before thinking about this? This is part of your adjustment to college. There's so many resources. I know this morning I was in the College of Arts and Sciences orientation. I saw many of you all there. And I was like, I've got my psychology group over here. I've got, medical humanities and all that. And they were talking about Adulting 101. This is the same kind of thing. You do need to adjust to college, but we are part of the adjustment. You need to be getting used to all the different resources that we have here in this campus that can help you get ready for the next steps. What if I don't know my major yet? My friend back there from Woodway, Texas, y'all, it's 80 miles from here. It is a long, far way. I know that because I live there too. But don't know your major yet? Okay, great. Parents, how many of you all didn't know your majors when you went to college? How many of you all switched majors more than 6 times? Okay, great. Okay, maybe 3 times. It's okay that you don't know your major. This career stuff goes all the way through. There are things, I told you I was an English major, and then I went in to tell you that I did finance and marketing. Never taught English. I've always done business roles. Because the things that you're learning here are still going to help you get that future job. That's what I want to help you start with. Isn't this something I need to think about when I'm a senior? Yes, you really should be thinking about it. But it's also something you should be thinking about as a freshman. The few things that you can do this freshman year to make it easier your sophomore year, so that by the end of your sophomore year, maybe you have an internship already. And then your junior year, you either want to repeat that internship or you want to do a different one because that internship was terrible. And then by your senior year, when you come back, wouldn't it be fun to have a job already lined up your fall semester of your senior year, and you have this epic senior year? Right? That happens all the time. 83% of the Baylor students who use the Career Center are in jobs or they graduate, or graduate school within 90 days of graduation. think about that. 83% of the kids that come in and use our center are already in jobs or in graduate school within 90 days of graduation. Pretty staggering students, right? 91% of the students that start working with us as freshmen are in jobs or graduate school within 90 days of graduation. We're very proud of that. We want to make sure that you all come in and you see us early and you see us often so that we can help you be part of that statistic. Okay? Okay. What do you need to do to succeed in my first year related to my career calling? I've always heard of the career calling and do you know what you're called to do and that kind of thing? You'll get there. You might not know exactly yet, but you'll start doing this. So we've made it really easy for you. Every family got a folder. Okay? Inside that folder, on the left-hand side, is a little square handout. If you don't have one, raise your hand. We will get one to you. Sydney or Catherine, anyone up here? Four super simple things to do. Anyone else? Okay. Here's the 4 steps that we tell freshmen they need to be doing. First one's called handshake. There's an assessment, a resume, and appointment. All easy things. Let's start with the first one, handshake. Has anyone heard of handshake? Okay. Who hasn't heard of handshake? And it's not a handshake, but it's handshake. Okay. Great. Handshake is the premier, it's a premier career resource that we have in our center. It is the largest platform that connects students and employers worldwide. Did we say worldwide? Yeah. Fun story about this. Back in 2014, this young guy named Garrett shows up here at Baylor, and he's like, just graduated from Michigan Tech, and we want to make things easier for college students, so we've come up with this platform, and it's like Facebook. So basically, employers can friend colleges. Do y'all want to play it? Well, he was like 23 years old, right? Garrett is one of the Forbes top list of young entrepreneurs. We did buy it. Handshake, but we didn't buy it. We opted into it, and we were about the 5th school in the world that jumped on it. Well, Handshake, what it does is not just a job posting board. It allows your student to just update a profile so that employers can come in and they can look at that student. So it's kind of like LinkedIn, but for Baylor. Smaller pool, bigger fish. We allow employers to friend us in that or to decide to work with us. We vet every single employer that comes in here. We have to make sure that they're going to be the right employers for our students. If they aren't, we don't accept them. We allow them to post internships and jobs. We allow them to set up events for our students. I think we had about 175 events in the spring this past year for students to go to and talk to different employers. Some of them are virtual. We try to do most of them in person. The other thing your student can do is sign up for interviews. Lots of times employers come to campus and they interview students here. How great is that? You don't have to go anywhere. You're right here. The good thing about it, so the very good thing about it is you actually have an account right now. So you all have your Bear IDs, Baylor.edu addresses. You go to this link, Baylor.joinhandshake.com, and you enter that. You can go ahead and set up your account. It's already activated for you. The reason we do this is we want to make sure that a high percentage of our students are using this platform. So, you know, a couple of years ago, we won something called the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. No big, right? So we were the national champions there, national champions of acro and tumbling. Well, we're also the national championship of handshake usage. There's not a college that comes close to the number of students that use it. So 84%. We push our students to use this because it really keeps them informed of everything. The last piece that it helps you do, it helps you connect with the right person in the career center. I told you that we're separated into different groups. If you go into Handshake and you look at your college that you're going to be in, so for my group, it would be College of Arts and Sciences, the arts side. You look at that, you can quickly see who the different people are that are going to support you, and you can set up a time. Their calendars are in there. So you're able to set up appointments for that. So that's Handshake. So I would suggest that one of the things that you do this summer is go in and spend some time setting up your handshake account. The next thing is to complete a career assessment. Have you all ever done this before? Answered a bunch of questions and tells you what you want to be. Okay. We use Super Strong. It's a great assessment. It'll probably take you 10 to 15 minutes to answer all the questions. So not too long. And I tell students, don't take too long on this and don't think about it too much. Because what it does is it takes your interest and it throws out some different ideas about some industries you might be interested in or some particular jobs you might be interested in. That's not all it does though. It also shows you maybe what the job market might look like for that industry in the next 5 to 10 years. Is it growing? Is it shrinking? And we've got a lot of curiosity about what the job market's going to be doing in the next few years. It also gives you an idea of the salaries that you can expect in those positions. The other thing it might help people who might be undecided about a major, if you do this, it'll point you to some ideas of things that you might be interested in, and it'll help you point yourself to a major. So it does a lot of different things for you. You'll go on. The directions on how to get into it are in Handshake, but that's the site. You'll have to sign in for that. So 10, 15 minutes of your summer doing this. A resume. Raise your hand if you have a resume. Raise your hand if you have an awesome resume. I like this. There's usually the dad in the room that goes, oh, that's a resume. And I love that. So I'm like, go dad. Right? Okay. So a resume, a great resume doesn't tell what somebody's responsible for. It tells what you did and the results that you accomplished in that. And a resume is the key to getting in front of an employer. It's the first look that an employer has at you. So it's that first impression. You've got to have a great resume. How many of you all have applied for a job online only to hear nothing but crickets? And it might be because your resume just told what you were responsible for. Okay, I know you're a cashier at Target. You were responsible for cash handling. Okay, was it a busy Target or was it a really slow Target? You know, those kind of things. As a new Baylor student, we want to make sure that you have all the tools to make sure your resume is as strong as possible. One of the things that I get from students is, I've only worked at Walmart, or I've only worked at Starbucks, or I've only done this, or I've only... There's transferable skills in all of those things. You know, I mentioned my daughter. I'm really proud of her. I always mention her a lot. She's a senior here at Baylor. For 3 years, she's been working at a little place down the street called Shorty's Pizza Shack. That was one of the things that Waver thought was cool, was that she held down a job for 3 years. And now she's doing social media marketing and product placement. So, transferable skills. It doesn't matter what you've done, we will work on that. It could be projects, it could be leadership skills, those kind of things. So we want to help you create the best resume you can. The other piece is, when you Google resume template, how many of you all get like 10,000 different templates? So which one's the best to choose? Any idea on that? You know, we all saw Elle in Legally Blonde, and she had the pink paper with perfume and all that kind of stuff. It's not the way to go. So the resume template that we use with Baylor students is one that we've worked with some of our top employers like AT&T, Accenture, Baylor Scott & White to create a template that, one, is going to be very pleasing to the eye, and two, we'll get through those pesky automated systems that so many companies use. So we definitely want you to do that. The template that we have for you is in Handshake under Resources. The fourth thing we want you to do this summer is make an appointment. You do have a career success professional that is dedicated just to your major. And not other universities can't say that. Just to your major. During this appointment that you have with a career success professional, we'll talk about your results that you got on your career assessment. We'll talk about your profile for Handshake. We'll talk about your resume, give you some good suggestions on that. We'll talk to you about some of the Career Center activities that are going to be coming up that you might not want to miss. One of the things that we do so much with is we have information sessions with employers. It's a great way for students to learn a little bit more about a company or an industry, decide if they're interested in it, and then meet those people one-on-one. These are all things that we do. Career events that will benefit you most, assisting in your job, internship, or graduate school search, connecting you with Baylor alumni and how to network. Parents, how many of you all have had jobs mostly through application? How many have had jobs mostly through networking? Right? It's the key to it. It's so much better. I think I've only had one job where I applied to it once. That was my first one out of college. The other thing is we will coach you before you go to the interview so that you're sure to get the interview. There's particular ways to answer questions. We'll teach you how to do that if you get the interview. Do you have to do the appointment this summer? No, but can you? Yes. We're available virtually. We're available in person all summer. So, here's our contact information. Some of you all probably went to the Sid Richardson building and looked at the Success Center tour this morning. You saw that we were there in Sid Richardson. We have 3 locations, and we do that on purpose to make sure that we're where your student needs us to be. So Sid Richardson, it'll be for students who are in arts and sciences, Robbins College, education, and music. Here for those business majors, we have a suite right here on the first floor. It's just opposite of this room. And then for the engineering and computer science, we are in the Rogers building, suite 311. And I hear there's a lot of chocolate up there all the time, so just in case, we will feed you. For any information you might want on this, you go to our website. A lot of times parents want to know, well, okay, you're saying all these things about finding jobs and that kind of thing. You can actually go on our website and look at our success data. One of the things that we do is we track where our students go, and we share that data. We're very transparent with that. So we have up through 2021 school year, because we have not audited 2022 yet. But we'll have information on there. You can look at your major. You can see where people went, what the top employers were for you. You can see what the salary ranges were for your major. You can also tell what graduate schools students went to. So if you're just interested in looking at that, please feel free to do it. Let's see, what else? Facebook, parents, I know you all like to follow Facebook. I get Facebook, I'm still there. But we do have Facebook, and then Instagram. I think students typically follow that a little bit more. If you have any questions, you can email us directly at careercenter@baylor.edu. It's a great time to get started at the Career Center. Did you all get the shirts that say, I know where I'm going when you got to Baylor? Okay, this is one of the coolest things that we get to do. When students get ready to graduate, we start finding out where it is that they're going next. And when they tell us where they're going, they get this I know where I'm going next shirt. So these were actually students who graduated a year ago. The guy in the glasses, he was one of my students. He was a psychology major, and he actually is a headhunter with a recruiting firm in Dallas. Can anyone pick the apparel designs? That's kind of obvious, right? She got a little creative. She works in New York City at a firm. I think there's a couple of engineering students in here as well. Never been a better time to engage in your future career than now. We look forward to meeting and getting to know each and every one of you over the next 4 years. So, are there any questions? Yes?
So back in the day, in our business school, employers would come to the business school and we would sign up for the business school and things like that. Is that still the way that companies are integrating students?
They do everything through Handshake. So students can, it's not just business school. So yeah, back in the day we were very separated. We were one big career center now, and so yeah, it's that.
Does the employers come for in-person interviews still?
Yes, they do still come for in-person interviews. Yeah, did everyone get that question? Do employers actually come on campus for in-person interviews? Yes, yes, they do.
And when does that typically start for your, postgraduate?
Okay, so in the fall, employers will start coming on campus to interview for seniors and for juniors for internships. Honestly, the best time, I'm just going to throw it out there, the biggest recruiting time is in the fall. You would think, spring, people are getting ready to graduate, but we have fall graduates too. So, fall. Other questions? God, we have questions. What else do we do for students to get them in front of employers? Oh, we have these little things called career fairs. We have 2 all majors career fairs in the school year. So one's in the fall, that's going to be on Wednesday, September 21st. Last year, we have 120 employers-ish at that one, all looking for internships and jobs. We make sure that they have current postings up. We don't want them just to come and market their business. We want them to hire our students. So in the spring, we had 117 employers sign up. And then we had this crazy ice storm that happened that day. Yeah, it never happens here. Oh, but it happened. So 105 employers came, but we had nearly 3,000 students show up, which was awesome. I kept getting these emails. Are you canceling the career fair? It's snowing. I'm like, you have 2 feet, walk, that kind of thing. We do bring them on campus. For students in education, we have a career fair specifically for teachers, and we also have one for, what did you all have this year?
Communication sciences.
Communication science disorders, yes. That was another point we had. So, any other questions?
Can freshmen get internships after their freshman year?
Oh, freshmen. Can freshmen get internships? Well, you can. It is difficult. Okay, so I don't want to build it up and say, yes, go get an internship. You might not your freshman year. But I'm going to encourage each and every one of you in this room to go to the career fair anyway. Do you have to talk to employers? No, you don't, unless you just feel compelled and you really want to throw your great resume in front of them and go for that internship. I want you to get used to see what the career fair is like. Start looking at companies that are going to be there. Start getting an interest about that. If you can't get an internship your freshman year, don't sweat it. Get a part-time job. Perfectly easy. Yes.
Do you guys do mock interviews for undergraduate students?
Mock interviews. Absolutely. Do we do mock interviews? Yes, we do. What's a mock interview? It's where we ask you a bunch of questions and we score you on how you answer them. So, true story. Let me throw this out there. Your sophomore year, you're going to want to take a class. It's called Professional Development 2101. 2 things happen in this class. 1, you usually get a pretty good grade. 2, you do all the work towards getting an internship or job, and you usually have one of those lined up by the end of the class. I teach them. I think Sydney teaches them. If you're in the business school, you're required to take 2 of them, so get ready for that. I had a student in one of my classes who was a communication major, and boy, could he communicate a lot, with a lot of words. And he never could get past the first interview. And one day after class, I said, why don't you just come to my office and let's kind of talk through what it is. And I threw out the first question. I said, tell me about a time when you led a group. That's all I said. About 8 minutes later, he's still telling me about that time. About 10 minutes in, I looked up and said, please shut up, Dan. I love you, but you gotta keep it under 2 minutes. So, okay. He had already interviewed with Oracle the semester before, and he couldn't get past that first interview. Guess where Dan works? He works at Oracle, and he's been promoted twice in the last 3 years. So, I promise you, mock interviews are a beautiful thing. We will help you answer those questions right. Some students don't tell enough, some tell too much. So, other questions?
What did you say that class is called?
The class is called Professional Development 2101. It's PRD 2101. That's for non-business students. For business students, it's BUS 2101 and BUS 3101.
There'll be roughly 14 sections offered between all of our platforms. And then there's also a CSD version, which is Communication Sciences Disorder, and then an ECS version, which is obviously our ECS college.
Yeah. If you had a question.
I think you said to take it sophomore year. Did you say that?
I would do it sophomore year. Here's
I
why.
have an older kid too. Can he do it senior year?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. I had a few freshmen in my class this last year, and it was disheartening when they went to the career fair because they were required to go to it because the employers weren't ready to hire freshmen. That's why I was like, take it your sophomore year, you'll be ready for it. Send your senior to me, yes. I'm teaching 2 sections of it this fall, but great class, and they'll do wonderful things. It's not a busy work class, and they're very much, you will do your resume, you will be graded on that. You will do a mock interview, you will go to information sessions, you will talk to employers. So it's a really good class. Any other questions?
Is it true that Tesla came to our career fair this last year?
Yes, they did. They also held an information session where 345 of our students showed up. They also brought, was it 4 cars or 6 cars and parked out here in front of the library?
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. Did Elon show up? No. I was really excited. I'm like, oh, will Elon be here? No, he didn't.
But we do have 4 kids that are at internships right now.
Yeah, so, cool. You had another question?
Yes, so, top employers, do you have any of those? And then also for entrepreneurship majors, are those typically going into the corporate world or are they starting out?
They'll start out usually in corporate world. Entrepreneurship typically starts in corporate and then goes and does their thing. But top employer. So I mentioned earlier on the success data for employers seeing where students do. If you pull up your major, it'll give you the top 3. Actually, it'll give you about 20 of them. So if you are in the College of Arts and Sciences, your top 3 employers are Dell, AT&T, and Oracle. Why do I know that? Because those are the majors. So does everybody understand that? You can go straight on the career site, pull up success data, look at it, and you will have all the information. Yes?
When did much about the internships typically start? After the sophomore year, that summer? Or?
That's summer. So internships typically run between 8 and 12 weeks. We like them to be 40-hour work weeks. Y'all, my daughter's like, I really wish shorties. This is a really long work week. But yeah, 40 hours a week and they're paid. We encourage students to take paid internships because there's a lot of them. Any other questions? What if you don't see an employer that you want to see on campus? Are you out of luck? No. You go to the Career Center and you say, hey, can you get this employer for me? We will do it. We will die trying. So that's why Tesla came. The student wanted to see them. Well, I appreciate your attention. I will wrap this up. The Dr. Pepper Hour and the Campus Connection is just upstairs. You can go that stairway right there. Thank you so much for coming. I look forward to seeing you all.